So as a kid, my brother and I watched movies together constantly, and we had this small circle of movies that we watched over and over and over again, and Born in East LA was definitely one of those movies. Every time I watch this movie as an adult, it brings me back to my childhood, especially the beginning of the movie when they're listening to KRLA and you hear Huggy Boy doing the dedications.
Good morning, LA. This is KRLA with Huggy Boy and requests and dedications.
If you grew up in Los Angeles around that time, I'm sure you remember KRLA. I definitely have fond memories of listening to it with my dad. Now, the majority of the movie was filmed in Mexico, but there was still lots of stuff that was filmed right here in Los Angeles. So today we're going to check out filming locations for Born in East LA. Let's go see what we can find. After some overhead shots of Los Angeles City Hall and some East Los Angeles neighborhoods, we get our first look at Rudy's house. And here it is, the Robles residence. Now, it has been updated quite a bit, but the basic layout of the house is exactly the same. All the windows are in the same spot. That pillar on the front porch is still there. That balcony on the second story is still there, although it has been updated quite a bit. The front door has also been changed, but like I said, the basic layout of the house is exactly the same and completely recognizable. Right there in front of the house, basically where that purple car is parked, that's where Rudy's pink VW Bug would have been. After Rudy gets in the car and throws a cassette in that Kenwood tape deck, he drives away, and this is basically the exact shot we get of him pulling away from the house. Now, a little bit later, we see Javier getting dropped off right here in front of the house, and as he's standing on the porch trying to get someone to open the door, one of the altar boys from the church next door comes out of this door right here, and he's yelling at Javier that's standing over here on the front porch. Right there is where that altar boy's standing, yelling at Javier, telling him that the whole family went to Fresno. Now, in the movie, there was some type of awning over the door, and they've updated the hand railing, but this is where he was standing. Now, this is not the last time we're going to see Rudy's house in this church. We'll be back here in a little bit for the ending of the movie and the deleted scenes. Right here is where the bus pulls up. You can match up those two utility poles and the windows on the building on the left. She gets off the bus and she's standing right here looking around, and as the bus pulls away, you can actually see the sign for the Southwestern Bag Company in the reflection of the bus window. After she gets off the bus, she takes off walking and heads over the 6th Street Bridge right there. Now, she would have been walking on the 6th Street Bridge somewhere right about here. It's hard to see the exact area now, but this tower right here can be seen when she's walking on the bridge. Unfortunately, we can't get the same shot of the downtown skyline unless we're up on top of the bridge, but you can kind of see it over there. This is where Rudy's driving when he first sees the red-headed girl in the green dress. He pulls over right here, and he first spots the girl right over there in front of that building. She's standing right here to the right of this door. She walks along this way, right past this building. And when she gets right about here, that's when the truck turns in front of Rudy and he loses her. We see Rudy pulling up to the park right here, and you can see this lamppost and this tree in the shot. He stops right here at the stop sign, and we get this shot. He stopped pretty much right where I'm standing, and you can see that utility pole and that tree, which is much smaller in the movie. Rudy looks over this way and he sees the red-headed girl in the green dress walking up the path. You can see these picnic tables and these palm trees in the shot. Unfortunately, this lamppost over here has been updated. Now, I'm not 100%, but I think there used to be a path going up this hill, and that's where she's walking. If we walk over here you can actually see that white brick wall that she's walking next to. We see the red-headed girl in the green dress crossing the street right here. And right here we see Larry Blackman, the lead singer of Cameo, leaning up against the limo. Right there on the corner is where the red-headed girl in the green dress would have been standing as the four guys in the lowrider pull up right here in front of this wall. She crosses the street right here in front of them as their car is hopping. Right here is where she's walking down the street and the fire truck passes her. And the fireman driving the truck slams on his brakes, sending the other firefighter through the air. Rudy passes by these apartment buildings. This one in particular can be seen in the background behind him as he pulls up to this one to talk to the people that are standing out front. These houses can be seen in the background behind Rudy. And right in between these two apartments is where the fireman's hanging from the tree. This is Rudy's work. This was the garage that he worked at. Now this building right here, this was the actual garage, and the building right next door, that was the office where he tells them to put his guitar in the back. The red-headed girl in the green dress would have been leaning up against her car right there, and Rudy would have walked through that door. And these two orange posts right here can be seen in that shot. They were red at the time. Right here is where he's talking to his friend Oscar and getting his guitar back from him. That house across the street can be seen, along with this apartment building over here. Right over here, I think pretty much where that minivan is, there was a tow truck parked there for Bradshaw Automotive. This right here is the toy factory where Rudy comes to pick up his cousin Javier. This is pretty much the exact shot that we get in the movie. And we see Rudy walking up to the building and through that door right there. It's crazy how much looks exactly the same right here. That building off in the distance has the exact same scaffolding type structure that we see in the movie. I'm pretty sure that this big roll-up door right here is the one that the immigration officers take Rudy out of. Right behind that building is where all the workers take off running. Unfortunately, that big building that you see in the background in the movie is now covered by the new version of the 6th Street Bridge, but the building's still there. Right here, that's the door that they're all running out of. Okay, so I just came on the other side of the 6th Street Bridge, and now you can see that building that can be seen in the background when they're all taking off running. In the extended TV version of the movie, right after Rudy runs over the mountain and crosses the border, we see Rudy, Dolores, and the OTMs pulling up in an army truck driven by 2 coyotes. Rudy pokes his head out and realizes they're right next to Dodger Stadium, but what he doesn't realize yet is that the 2 coyotes are planning to hold them hostage for ransom. Now, I'm not 100% sure, but I believe where this park now sits is where they filmed the movie. If you look over this way, you can see Dodger Stadium, and we get a shot really similar to the one that we see in the movie. And if you look over on this side, we get a shot of downtown Los Angeles, really similar to the one that we see when the truck is pulling up. Now again, I'm not sure that this is where they shot that scene, but from all the research I did, this seems to be the place. And if I am correct, the really funny thing is, one of the coyotes is played by actor Enrique Castillo, who played Montana in the movie Blood In, Blood Out, and this park sits on top of Montana Street. Rudy steals their van and drives into the LA River underneath the 6th Street Bridge, and then everybody gets out of the van and runs into a sewer tunnel, which explains why in the theatrical version we see everybody coming up out of a manhole from the sewer. Right there is the sewer tunnel that they run into. We see the coyotes driving over the 4th Street Bridge looking for their van. They walk right over here and look into the LA River and see their van sitting right next to the entrance to that sewer tunnel. Right here is where they come up out of the sewer. Now that manhole that they come out of seems to be gone. I didn't know they got rid of manholes, but it's no longer here. But this is definitely the spot. All these buildings can be seen in the background. When the OTMs are walking through this intersection, you can see that church right there, which is actually the church right next door to Rudy's house. And then as they walk a little further this way, you can see this building right here. Now, right when Rudy and Dolores come up out of the sewer, she asks them what Cinco de Mayo is, and he says,
I don't know, but we have a parade every year.
They're standing right here, and you can actually see this sign. In the movie, it says Thrifty Wash. So like I said, the manhole cover is no longer where it used to be, but for some reason, there's 3 manhole covers right here. So I guess they relocated all of them right here to this area. I don't know if this is possibly where the manhole was. Again, I don't know how that works. Now, right after they come up out of the sewer, we see Dolores and Rudy walking through this alley, and that's when the kidnappers come around the corner down there and catch up with them and take them hostage once again. Right here in front of this brick building, this is where they catch up with Rudy and Dolores. After they capture Rudy and Dolores, they bring them to this house and hold them for ransom. After Rudy looks out the window, he realizes that they're directly across the street from his house, so he calls Javier to bring him his wallet. But Javier still thinks that it's Jesus talking to him, and he doesn't want to go back inside the house. We see Javier sitting right there on the porch telling Jesus he doesn't want to go back inside. After they get the money, they try and flee the house, but they're stopped by the immigration officers, and we get this shot of Rudy's house and the church. They take Rudy and Dolores back into custody and threaten to deport Dolores back to El Salvador. And that's when Rudy steals the police car. So they steal the car and they drive straight down this way, which is just a few hundred feet from Rudy's house. And they stop right here, and you can see this building here behind them. And then now they're back at the parade, which is right here. Now Rudy and Dolores come running around the corner right there, and they go running this way. All those buildings that were in the background behind them have been torn down. So right about here is where they run out into the street and then get on the parade float. Now the police station right here looks completely different than it did in the movie. It's been totally remodeled or rebuilt, I'm not sure. But these buildings over here can be seen in the background behind them. You can see just a little bit of the marquee of this building poking out. And you can see this building and the sign on this building. At the time it was a furniture store. When Rudy and Dolores are on the float getting married, this is pretty much what you see in the background behind them. There's just a tree now blocking this building. The immigration officers are running down the sidewalk right here, and then they come running out into the street chasing after the parade float. So the float's right about here when Larry pronounces them husband and wife, and all the people are right over here cheering. But like I said, that building has since been torn down. We see the OTMs walking on the sidewalk right here with this building in the background when they notice the police officer standing on the corner right here. Now that building that was in the background behind him has been torn down. And this is where they walk up and start talking to the police officer, trying to fit in and make it seem like they're from LA. We get one more scene with the red-headed girl in the green dress as she crosses this intersection right here. This whole side is full of people watching the parade. She pushes through them and crosses through the intersection. And as the camera pans out, we can see those signs for Chicago Street and First Street. And right here is the very final shot of the movie with Rudy and Dolores standing on the float with Larry in the background behind them. Now honestly, the theatrical ending of this movie doesn't make much sense. They cross the border and all of a sudden they're coming up out of a sewer, and next thing you know, Rudy and Dolores are on a float with a minister and Rudy's missing his hat and jacket. But the extended TV version explains it all. Alright, that's going to do it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you all next time.